we've talked about intoxicated, so you were smart enough to say, I'm going to get out of Memphis, have them chase me across state lines to Mississippi, then you remember specifically South Haven police got you.
They didn't chase me. I just drove and they were following me. They were trailing me the whole time.
Okay.
So I just went on to South Haven, Mississippi, and they followed me and put South Haven police behind me. I'm all cop.
All right, so in your intoxicated state, you went in this Sunday drive, essentially, where you saw the marshals tailing you, and you were smart enough to recognize South Haven police was also involved. Is
Look,
that right?
this how I am. I'm from the street, so,
Yeah.
you know, when you driving, you pay attention to all your mirrors. You know what I'm saying? So I pay attention to these cars following me. You know what I'm saying? And I knew that if they were some hitters, they would have pulled up on me and just shot the car. You know what I'm saying? So I went ahead and went on to Mississippi. When I was in my baby mama's apartment, matter of fact, they pulled up 5-6 cars deep, number 10 windows. So I knew they were police.
What kind of cars were following you?
They were Jeeps, all kind. You know how the marshals ride, you know.
Well, marshals usually have those big SUVs and Suburbans, but you're saying like a Jeep Wrangler?
They had Jeeps, they had all kind of cars.
Okay.
They was in unmarked cars, tinted out.
All right. So I'm going to try to go this slowly. If there's anything you don't understand, just ask me to repeat myself, okay?
Yes, sir.
I have no quarrel with you. I respect what you're trying to do. I just want to ask some questions,
I
okay?
ain't got no problem. I respect what you're trying to do, too.
When we first started this morning, you had mentioned you'd been shot twice and you were losing a lot of blood. Is that a guess?
Yes, sir.
And you said it was gushing everywhere out of your arm. You had to get medical care.
No, I got a wound kit. I never went to the hospital.
Understood. But you used the word a lot of blood, blood everywhere. Is that fair?
Yes, that's what I said.
Okay. So as you're bleeding with blood everywhere, you got into the Mercedes to make your getaway.
Yeah. I didn't even recognize I was shot at the time when I was in it. It's like, man, like, when I got in the car, I didn't recognize I was shot.
But you saw you were bleeding.
No. Once we pulled out and he shot the window, that's when I know I had a hole in my, I wasn't bleeding then.
Okay. When the car left, as it's leaving Makita's Cookies, you get shot in the arm.
I don't know when they got shot. I see it here. I don't know when exactly. What point I was shot at, I don't know. But once we pulled out, we were driving crazy. That's when Jesse said he was straight, and I looked. I'm like, dang, I'm hit too. And I kept asking him, was he okay?
So obviously at some point when you're shooting your AK-47 into the Makitas and backing up, the other guy comes out and then at some point he grabs an AK-47 and shoots at you. You have to have been hit somewhere along that point, right?
Yeah, it was so bad. I don't know when I got hit right here. Anyway, I can't tell you when. I didn't feel it.
Okay. Can we agree that after you got shot twice in this part of your leg, which is a heavy bleeding part,
I was straight right here.
so straight, so that shot didn't bother you?
And the bullet went in me right here. It was in my back.
Okay. Because when you were walking, you didn't look like you were limping into the apartment, so that's what I was asking you. Did you get shot in the leg?
Straight right there. Straight right there.
It's just a straight. All right, the one that lodged in your body, that blood is just gushing, right? It's just you've got an open wound in your foot.
Gushing, but you know, because I've been shot before, so I know not to pain. As long as I don't bleed out of my mouth, I ain't gonna pain. So I've been shot before, I know not to pain. As long as I don't bleed
Mr.
out.
Cornelius, I'm not trying to ask you difficult questions. Were you bleeding heavily from the gunshot wound in your arm?
Yeah, you gonna bleed. You gonna bleed.
That's all I'm asking.
Yes, sir.
And as you're bleeding, you're sitting in the car going to Bradley Street where you dropped off the car. Yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so there would be blood in the car. I mean, you're bleeding heavily.
Nah, I'm sitting up. I'm sitting up actually, man. And I got on a pullover sweater, you know, and I'm not panicking, so the blood ain't. I'm not panicking, because I'm making sure Mr. Johnson okay as well, because he said he was in. But it come to find out he was straight.
But if you're bleeding heavily, but there's no blood, is that what you're telling me?
Your know, I'm gonna check his excellent, but then he's answered this about 5-6 times.
I just want a simple answer to a simple question.
He's answered it to the best of his ability.
Was there blood in the car once you got out?
Nah, I wasn't looking to check. I wasn't trying to see whether no blood. I'm moving fast, trying to, you know what I'm saying?
Okay. All right, we'll go with that. And you mentioned that Justin had the car keys, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Alright, so when you guys dropped off the car, Justin got into his SUV that he left across the street from Mr. Gomez.
I got out and jumped in the issue on the video, so I was driving in. I got in the car.
I'm not talking about the apartments. Remember when you dropped off the car? Let's focus. When you guys dropped off the white stolen Mercedes, you said across the street from Mr. Gomez's house. You and Justin got out of the car.
I got out the car to move the truck. You had to move the truck out of the yard first. Pull it out.
Okay, so you did that. Whose truck was it? Alright, who drove the truck away over the two-lane apartment?
I did.
So that white SUV that we saw, you were driving a truck?
Yeah, that was me.
Okay. You don't know who struck that, so that white SUV that we saw, you were driving?
It was Justin, like, yeah.
Alright. And you drove the Mercedes into the driveway.
No, I did not. I can't drive too big. I jumped out the Mercedes, moved the white truck. No, Justin parked the Mercedes. He was driving, and you saw the video.
Alright, so even though you couldn't drive too good, you drove the SUV, the two-lane
I said I
apartment.
couldn't drive too good.
You just did say that.
I said I can't drive two vehicles, two cars.
Okay. You just did say that.
I said I
Alright,
can't drive.
so did Justin have the keys to the Mercedes?
Yes.
Okay, so he does whatever with the Mercedes, takes the keys, you guys get into the SUV, you drive it away to two-lane apartments, right? He does whatever with the Mercedes, takes the keys, you guys get into the SUV, you drive it away to two-lane apartments, right? That's whatever with the Mercedes. I want to get into the AutoZone. I know you don't remember, but the car was found on the morning of December 20th, 2021. 3 days after the shooting, okay?
December the 20th.
I'm sorry, November the 20th, 2021. We'll work with that, right?
December the 20th.
You're now saying that the night before, which would be around midnight, I think we said. You're now saying that the 19th, around midnight, Mr. Govan gave you some money for car cover?
Yes, sir.
All right, and you said around midnight or so he did that, right?
Yeah, in between that time.
Okay.
Leave the house.
All right. You mentioned at one point that he paid you with Cash App, and then at one point you mentioned he paid you with cash. So these jurors didn't hear the word Cash App come out of your mouth at
I
all.
said he paid me with cash.
Okay.
He gave me cash to go get the car cover.
Did he ever pay you any dollars with Cash App? Okay. So he gave you cash. Did you go get the car cover?
I went and got it, but I didn't go inside the store myself.
Okay. So now let's go back. So you're telling me when this happened, on the night of the 19th, you were with your girlfriend? So you're telling me
Angela?
when this happened, okay, 'cause you didn't mention that when they were asking you the questions. So let me get this straight.
What'd you say?
On the 19th, the night before the car was discovered, you cleaned that car, right?
What'd you say? Yeah.
Angela was with you when you were cleaning the car?
She wasn't with me. She dropped me off.
All right, where did she go?
I told her to buzz the loop, buzz the block, right around. So I called and told her to come back.
All right.
She wasn't with me.
Where did she go? So you said you called Mr. Govan to tell him that you were going to clean the car so he wouldn't shoot you, right? So did he come out to visit with you? Then how did he give you the money that night to go get a car cover?
I went back over there. I ain't say it might have been that same day now. I said it might have been the next day, but I went over there, get some pills. Or it might have been later on. But I went over there to get some pills or whatever. Stay up, some extra pills.
Right, but you
Gave
understand,
me the money. Get the car.
you understand, we're running a little bit out of time because you've told us under oath that he paid you on the 19th of December of 2021 in the evening hours around midnight.
Then I said it might have been that day. It might have been next. It might have been like I probably had the days mixed up. Like the day before, I probably went and wiped the car. Then on the 19th, he gave me the money for the car cover.
Well, see, there's a little problem with that. The car was found on the 20th that morning.
Okay.
So if you wiped the car down the night before it was found, that would be the 19th. You'd agree with me, right? And if he also paid you at the same time, that would be the 19th, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you
But the
got
time, like the time of what time, like exactly what time this took place, what I can't remember.
But it was all at night.
Yeah, like midnight, early morning.
Okay. And you went to the AutoZone to buy that night, and you just...
Nah, I ain't go there night. I went this morning to get that Costco, because I wanted to put it up. AutoZone ain't no 24 hours. Nah, I ain't go there no way.
Okay. What time did you go to the AutoZone?
Soon as they open up, early.
So like 7 in the morning.
Can't tell you exactly what time.
Okay. Who'd you go with? All right, so now you've got Angela involved in covering up the murder, like hiding evidence, right? She's helping you get this?
I ain't ever involved with doing nothing. She won't have nothing. She wasn't doing it. Not feeling like that.
All right, so when she picked you up at Two Lane Apartments, what happened to your clothes?
What happened to my clothes?
Yeah, the bloody clothes.
We had changed down at 2 Lane Apartments.
Where'd you get the clothes?
We got them 2 Lane Apartments.
Like from who?
Whoever it was. I don't know that good.
So they just had something that fit your size to wear those
Yeah,
clothes?
you see, when we went in and we came out, you see, before Angela pulled up, we had on different clothes when we came out. You see that on video.
So you remember that part, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You went to the AutoZone. You ever been to an AutoZone yourself before?
I had cars. Yeah.
Security cameras everywhere, right? At the AutoZone?
I don't know about that.
All right. Would it be out of the ordinary? You've gone auto park shopping before. You just said you've been there before, right? All right. Do most businesses that we frequent have surveillance cameras? All right. So your car, what car was it that went to the AutoZone that morning?
The SUV that would pick me up.
So Angela's car.
Yes, sir.
So if I was to call AutoZone to get surveillance, I could easily see the car coming and going.
Yes, sir.
All right, and if I went inside, I could easily be seeing the surveillance cameras because they have it for shoplifting and all that. See, Angela would be front and center, right? All right, and if I went inside,
I ain't gonna say front and center, but I told her to go get the Costco.
all right, and
Go
so,
get a Costco, Universal Costco.
all right, and so if it's around 7 in the morning, she used cash to buy it. You get a receipt even if you use cash, right?
Right.
Okay, so if it's around 7 in the morning, she used cash to buy it. You get a receipt even if you use cash, right? Okay. So if I wanted to double check, say I'm a really good detective and I want to figure out what's happened, I could easily go to AutoZone, pull the footage, ask them for just their receipts from between 7 and 8 that morning, who bought a car cover. I could very easily validate what you're saying, right? Okay. We agree on that. With regards to Mr. Govan, you talk to him almost every single day, right?
What you mean?
Like you would hang out at his house.
Yeah, I go through the grass, pull up on him.
Yeah, I mean, you talk to him pretty regularly, right? So if you say, hey, he called me or he did this, you could have communicated with him for any reason. You have to take your word for what it is that you guys talked about, right? So
When you tell me,
well, you're a little vague on the date, so I'm just asking you, if you met him that summer,
I'm a little big on the date.
a little fuzzy on the date.
Yeah. I've been locked up by my 4 years.
Right, but you've also talked to the police over the course of the 4 years, especially in the first 6 months.
Yeah, like, I've been locked up by my 4 years.
Right, I know, because there's pressure here when you're under oath, but I'm saying, you've also talked
No
to...
pressure. But I'm telling the truth. Ain't no pressure.
Your truth is your truth, I understand. You've talked to these people about 9 times, essentially, the government lawyers, right, prior to testifying here today.
I can't tell you exactly how many times I talked to them, sir.
Okay, 9 times, essentially, the government lawyers, right, prior to testifying here today.
I can't tell you exactly how many times.
You mentioned during your testimony that you actually never communicated with Jook, is that right?
No, I never communicated. Well, I did, to be honest with you. Yeah, I had, like, after they found the car or whatever, and, well, I did. Man, I wasn't talking to that, Justin or him. So I had, inbox him on, well, I forgot what it was. And I'm like, man, I'm go back home, Justin. I need to holler at you, because I'm trying to get my money. You know what I'm saying?
So who were you communicating with?
I was inboxing Juke, like, go man, little homeboy. Like, really, I ain't want to say this was go man hired, you know what I'm saying, to handle the bid. Like, go man, homeboy, like, get up with you. I'm trying to get my bread.
So when you said inbox, is that an email?
Yeah, what I had,
And the reason I ask is you didn't want to give up anything or do anything, but earlier when you first met Jook, you said you didn't want to go back and introduce you as Little C, the guy done the shooting of Wu. So we already knew you were a shooter. So why would we need all the cloak and dagger if you're trying to reach out to Jook?
Nah, because look, this happened. After the shooting or whatever, after they discovered the car or whatever, Justin had got with me and was like, man, look, man, Juke saying that he'll get with us on his own terms or whatever, and don't trust Grovan or nothing like that right now. You know what I'm saying? He was like, so in my eyes, there was so many crosses. You know what I'm saying? Like Justin had ran out with the cake or whatever, and I couldn't trust him. I couldn't trust nobody. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, man, I'm gonna take initiative on my own, and he Juke up on these little I forgot it was Instagram or something. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, man, you go in home, boy. You know what I'm saying? Like, he get up with you. Really, I need my money.
Did you ever text Mr. Jook at all during the course of all this?
That's what I was saying on the website, like on Instagram or Facebook, something like that. I forgot what it was. I ain't have his number personally. I could not contact him, like call his phone and say, just where my money. No, I couldn't do that.
Okay.
I ain't have his number.
Could Angela do that?
No.
So nobody.
Angela ain't no Annabelle, no Julie, none of these. Like, no, she couldn't. Like, she couldn't just get Julie. She don't know him or go in. Like, no, she couldn't. Like, she couldn't get Julie. She don't know him or go in.
Just have us 1 second, Your Honor. We've talked a lot about parking the car across from Golden's house, but you recall some hours ago you said your friend Bobby Carter lives across the street from Golden as well.
He stayed like across up the street, close towards the corner. With his mom. And they called each other brothers. Him and
So your testimony to me now is when you told them whatever about Bobby Carter, that he didn't remember how they will. Now you're saying Bobby Carter lives up the street.
he stayed across the street, but houses down from where they called it.
How many houses?
I can't remember, about 3, 4 houses, close to what that is?
Bradley?
Nah, close. Bradley is the street they stay on. Close towards what's the Crossway Street?
I'm not from Memphis, I don't know.
It's been a long time. I ain't been out there. I can't tell you.
Right. The reason I ask is you also mentioned you just lived a couple minutes from Mr. Govan's house, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you live a couple minutes from Mr. Govan's house. Bobby lives across the street, some 3 houses down. And you and Bobby did the first shooting of Wu when you guys had a shootout with Mr. Wu. Is that correct?
Yeah, me, Barbara, Justin, and we got Mr. Govan gave me his gun.
Okay.
Gun.
So now Govan gave you the gun. I understand that. Was Treon Ingram also there for that shooting?
I don't know none of them folks. I don't know none of them.
How many people were there all together at the first shooting of Wu?
At the shooting?
At the shooting.
At the house, at Mr. Govan's house.
Okay, let's try this again. You went with Bobby Carter and you said Justin was already there.
We all met up at Mr. Govan's house. And me and Barbara jumped in one vehicle, and Justin and another guy was in another vehicle.
All right. So when they asked you before, now there's a 4th guy that was going to do the shooting with you guys, right? It's you, Justin, Bobby, and a 4th person you don't know. Okay. So you guys drove off and found Wu and had a shootout.
Yeah, he had told us Wu was at the house, Mr. Govan.
So Mr. Govan knew exactly where Wu was at the date and the time.
Well, Wu stayed there.
Okay, so did you shoot up his house?
Nah, like I said, the gun had jammed up. I was on foot walking up, and he was coming at the house. And the gun Mr. Govan had gave me had jammed up. And I had to jump behind the tree. And Bobby was trying to get to me.
Okay. Were you ever charged with the attempted murder of Wu
No,
by the state?
no.
But you told them that you tried to kill somebody and the gun jammed up, but they didn't charge you with a conspiracy
No.
or attempted murder or
We
anything?
ain't called no police then. Like, that was street stuff. Ain't nobody but Tim, like, he shot back. Like, it was a shootout. It was a shootout. After that, it was unity.
Well, like with Mr. Dolph, though, that was a shootout too, because they shot back at you and they hit you
We
twice.
shot first, though. We shot first, so it really wasn't we ran as they were shooting back. We were pulling off as he was shooting back.
Okay. In your statement to the police in March of 2022 and Mr. Hagerman, do you remember telling them that two masked men met you prior to your arrest and gave you $50,000 in cash inside a brown paper bag?
No, I ain't tell them nothing like that.
All right. Did you tell them about... Okay, you didn't tell them. Got it. At some point, money showed up for your lawyer after you got arrested. Is that right?
Yeah.
All right. And then you were talking to the police, and they asked you, what did the money mean? And you said it was understood that you were on Jook's team. Is that correct?
No, I ain't say nothing like that.
You sure? Because I got it on video, so I'm
Yeah,
just going to ask you
your
again.
team?
Yeah, they said, is it understood what you were going to be doing that they paid for your lawyer?
Nah, I wanted my money. The hit already been done.
You're in prison, and $38,000 or $50,000 or whatever just shows up to pay your lawyer. Is that correct?
Yeah, the money came.
All right, and that came from Mr. Jook's
I don't
CMG.
know who it came from.
So it just magically appeared.
I don't know who it came from. Like I said, I couldn't call nobody. I don't know who it came from.
Do you remember talking to the police on August 10th of 2022?
Probably did. What was said?
Well, I'm going to show you what was said, and we're going to go through it. May I approach the witnesses? I want you to read paragraph 17 to yourself, and I'm going to have a handful of questions.
And Your Honor, can we approach, you might have them to sit down, please? Hold on for just a second.
We're going to have a bunch of questions. retrieve it back for asking questions. You remember talking to agents back in August of 2022. We've established that, right?
All right.
All right. Who is Vanessa Covington?
My sister.
All right. And you stated to the police on August 10th of 2022 that you had Vanessa Covington, I guess her married name is Holmes, try to reach out to a lawyer for you, right?
Correct.
All right. And then she told you that we don't have any money, right?
Correct.
Her husband contacted a lawyer named Taurus Bailey, is that right?
Correct.
And that you told her that you needed to get word to Mims through Arthur Horn, attorney for Anthony Mims, correct?
Correct.
So you told your sister to reach out to Jook's lawyer, Arthur Horn.
No, I did not tell my sister did. I told the lawyer did.
Okay, so you told your lawyer, reach out to Jook's lawyer, Arthur Horn.
To get him money.
Okay,
But he didn't represent me.
all right. And so the lawyer did get some money from Arthur Horn.
Yeah.
And Arthur Horn is Jook's lawyer, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then at some point, Mr. Bailey advised you that payments have been made.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be $50,000, right?
Supposed to be.
And there's no trail of it, it was just cash, is what he told you. You got paid cash.
Yeah.
Because Mr. Horn didn't want this coming back to him, so he just paid out cash to Mr. Bailey.
I don't know. I got paid. I don't know. Yeah, he got paid though.
All right.
When he got there.
And then Mr. Bailey backed out of your case shortly thereafter, and another lawyer came on your case, right?
Mr. Bailey wasn't able to represent me because the judge went down.
Okay.
At the time, the judge at the time.
So he's been paid in full, either be it 50,000, 30, whatever it is, he's been paid. And then he gets you another lawyer, right?
Right.
And the same 38,000 in cash shows up for that lawyer, right?
Right.
All right. And you guys talked about that cash, and in fact, your lawyer during this interview with the police in August said, whoa, 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 this money's all documented and all that stuff, right? Your lawyer talked for a while trying to explain where this money came from, right?
I can't remember. I recall. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then one of the detectives also jumped up and said, now that they paid for your lawyer, it was understood that you were with them, or words to that extent.
What you mean? With what?
If I pay for your lawyer, wouldn't I expect you to help me out and keep your mouth shut?
No, not necessarily, because if you bring me a part of this, and then you know what I'm saying, like you make your statement to the police, and you hire me to do this and make a statement and turn me in, then right, wrong. I might as well go with the same person that hired me and made a statement on me. I might as well just keep it real and tell the truth. This is who hired me, right? And then there it goes. This is who brought me in.
Okay. When you tried, they asked you again.
I don't know Juke and them like that. I don't know Juke.
Okay.
So I'm not with them.
When they gave you the money,
They didn't give me the money. I was locked up.
when they gave the lawyer the money, you think Mr. Govan came up with $50,000 in cash to pay the lawyer?
Objection, Your Honor, calls for speculation.
All right, we've already answered this. You said you know it came from them, the lawyer told you. I got it. So let's move from that to, was Mr. Juke ever interviewed by the police in this case?
I don't know.
You read the discovery in your case, did you not?
No, I ain't read all that. I ain't had a whole 1,000-some pages.
All right. So in here, when you said I looked at the discovery after your March interview, and that's
I saw
how.
my part. I saw my part. My part was short.
Okay. Your part was short, even though you're the one with the AK-47 committing a murder, telling them about AutoZone, telling them about I went here, I went there. Let's go back. All right. You talked about pressure wool. You know pressure wool, right?
Yeah.
You know what it looks like. You've been there before.
Yeah.
Sometimes people sell drugs there.
I don't know about I don't know what go on in prison word like that. I can't say all that.
All right.
I can't say all that.
You said you've been to pressure. What did you go to pressure wool for?
I went up there with him to get it, Mr. Govan to get his car washed before. And then I went the day of the shooting and I met Mr. Govan up there.
All right. So is it your testimony now, after I just asked you, you've been there before and you know what it looks like? You've only been there twice. Is that your
I
testimony?
can't tell you how many times I've been to get a car wash, sir.
Okay. You live in the same neighborhood as Mr. Govan, just a couple minutes away.
Yes, sir.
The pressure roll is just a couple minutes away from both you guys.
Yes, sir.
And you know what it looks like.
Yes, sir.
And you've been there.
Yes, sir.
Have you been there without Mr. Govan?
No, sir.
Okay, so is it fair to say then you're saying you've only been there twice in your life?
I can't tell you because I've probably been there 2-3 times with him. I don't know. I just can't tell you, sir.
Okay, so it was, I went there to get my car, he got his car
Objection, Your
washed.
Honor. Ask him answer.
Why don't they, well, I'm sorry, Your Honor, I apologize.
He's fine.
You went there one time with Mr. Govan so he could wash his car.
Get it car washed.
Okay. And then the next time you mentioned it was to pick up your phone.
If you want to say that, yes, sir. I went back to pick my phone up from him at the car wash. He told me to meet him where he get his car washed at because I already knew. So, you know, I went there and met him.
And then there may have been other times you went to the car wash with Mr.
No,
Govan.
I'm not saying all that, sir.
Okay.
I'm not saying that.
When you go to pressure roll, you do notice there's cameras all around the building and there's only one way in and
I
out.
don't notice all that, but it might be.
Okay. So if I'm a good detective and you say I went to pressure roll, certainly they would have gone to pressure roll, seen the cameras, and asked for the surveillance footage, right? To
I
back
don't
up
know
what
what
you
they did, sir. I can't do their job for. I don't know. I can't tell them. I don't know what they did, sir.
All right. When you talked about when the meeting happened, was it just you and Jook when the meeting happened?
No, me, Joe, and Mr. Hernandez go, man, sir.
And was that planned in advance?
Nah, I told you I was just pulling up the 5 P's. Actually, Joe was already over there. And,
Okay.
go man was like, we're gonna let's see right here. You know what I'm saying? This is what we had to be the other day. And
All right.
Joe like, hold on. Put them phones, you know what I'm saying? Can't trust you like that.
With regards to trying to figure out when this meeting happened with Jook, that's the first time you saw him, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
First time I saw him.
And you just know Mr. Govan for a very short period of time prior to this meeting, right?
Right.
Okay, but Govan, even though you don't even know him, approached you and said you want to kill some people.
Nah, he said, you know, paper route got hits on their head. Not you want to kill some people. Then
Okay.
paper route got hits on their head. Bound is on.
Right, so,
This our turn. You
okay.
know what I'm saying? Street. This
He
our
just-
turn. I always seen.
So is he doing a public service announcement saying, hey, there's a
Nah,
bounty on these
nah.
people, or is he
You don't
telling
do
you to
shit
do
like
it?
that. You don't do shit like that. You know what I'm saying? You first you gotta figure a person out. So that's basically what he was doing, figuring me out. He said I was buying pills for him. So I probably need a little money because I get pills on credit or whatever from him. You know what I'm saying? And he saw me and Bobby tight, so he figured me out and was like, you know, you want to make some money?
Okay. And so this is a murder Mr. Govan couldn't do himself to make $100,000. He needed you to do it and maybe get $10,000 out of it.
I don't know what he could have did himself. I don't know. I can't tell you all this, sir. He probably, well, he had a whole bunch of young guys around him, you know what I'm saying? So I guess he wanted to just send us on out, you know.
So now he had a whole bunch of guys that he was talking to this about.
Nah, I'm saying he had young guys around him, you know, we'll come around. So, you know.
So is everybody supposed to be told, go out and kill people, make some
I
money?
don't know, sir. I don't know, but I'm not finna sit here and lie, sir.
Okay, but now you're telling me that he had other young people out here and everybody knew that there was a price on
I didn't
Dolph.
say everybody. I don't know who all knew, sir, but I know me, Bobby, Justin, and the other guy. I don't know who all knew because I'm not with their little crew. So what they talked about when I went around, I don't know, sir. You know what I'm saying? I was Bobby's partner. I wasn't his partner really, but you know, once me and Bobby, he saw me and Bobby was, then he, you know, started, you know, trying to play a bundle.
All right. So a gentleman that you've just recently met decides he's going to trust you enough to tell you that there's a price on people's head. And just like that, you trust some guy living in Orange Mound to be able to come through with the money based on his representation.
Nah, it wasn't even representation. It's just, you know, when you hungry for some money, you would get out there and get your hand dirty, you know what I'm saying? And then, like I said, I had already saw Jude, like, after he told us, and we went on one mission, and Bobby clarified that, you know, his brother good for it, and Juke was over there when I met, and Juke clarified that our money was gonna be good. It's go time.
Right, but remember,
We done been to the club together and everything.
I get it, but
And
let's,
Juke was at the club too.
right, I understand Joe told you the money was good, but the problem with that statement is you'd already shot at Mr. Wu, you said close to a month or so before meeting
Nah,
with
I
Joe.
didn't say no month or so before meeting no Juke. I didn't say that. It was a couple days later. When I pulled up and got them pills, it probably was the next day or 2-3 days later. I can't remember the timeline, but it wasn't no couple months.
So when you said 2 weeks, maybe a month,
Nah,
that was incorrect.
I didn't say that, sir. I
Alright.
didn't say that. It was like probably the next day I pulled up over there, bought some pills from him. The next day or two, I don't know exactly when. And he was like, "Here go, let's see right here. This who put their work in. Who shot it? Woo."
Alright, so if all this is already known and understood, why would Mr. Jook need you to take your phones out and then walk you through how much everybody's worth? You already knew all that.
If you want to be honest with you, I can be honest with you, because they were saying that Mr. Govan was like one straight or nothing like that, was like informing and stuff like that, and you know they were saying that he was police, so
Okay.
yeah, well, all the phone gotta go outside, you know, when you talk around.
So let me back this up. You were told at the meeting that Mr. Govan could be police.
Nah, Bobby been told me that.
So Bobby told you.
And then the streets talk, you know, people in the neighborhoods were saying that, you know, he had got him popped and he had got him sent to jail and he was
Right.
setting them up and stuff like that.
So let's maybe go back to scratch. You just met this guy for a short period of time over the summer. Bobby's already told you he's a snitch, maybe works for the feds.
But you can't tell me nothing about nobody like that. If he ain't did no wrong to me, he ain't did no police stuff to me, he ain't police me, so I don't just take you to the street say that about anybody, you know what I'm saying? They
Your
probably
friend-
saying it about me right now.
Your friend Bobby Carter told you that. Your friend.
An associate.
Okay.
I don't have friends, I have associates.
All right. Your associate told you that this man that you just met is a federal snitch. You can't trust him, right?
Yeah, but people say they're better than better, man. You know what I'm saying? So, no, you ain't did no police stuff to me. Like, I ain't got no bad to say about you. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
You cool. You
So-
know, streets talk like that all the time. Associates or whatever. Because he probably seen how me and him was get, and he ain't like that, so he come with this, man. You know, he police. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't listen to what people say.
All right. So let me just ask.
It's just like proving guilty to prove innocent. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's the problem we're having. So let me ask you some
Innocent
questions.
to prove guilty, however you get.
All right. So before you meet Mr. Govan, according to you, whenever that was, Bobby Carter's already giving you rumors. Your associate that he's a snitch. You can't trust him.
Nah, not before. After me and him start, you know what I'm saying, hanging out and stuff. You know what I'm saying? That was Bobby.
All right. So now you're saying Bobby told you he was a snitch after you guys
Yeah,
started hanging
like,
out?
after he saw how our relationship was, this when he was like, you know what I'm saying, can't trust him, you know, that's why I feel back. He was like, that's why he want to take me pause in. Ain't none of this or nothing like that, you know what I'm saying?
So your associate Bobby Carter that introduced you to Mr. Govan fell back because he didn't trust Mr. Govan.
Yeah, because me and Bobby had a problem too, though, so that's why I really didn't believe because he had put my towel on flag and stuff, so I really just ain't believe everything people were saying, you know what I'm saying?
All right, so now you and your associate Bobby Carter had problems as well. So
I
you didn't
had
believe
feel,
it.
yeah, so I was like really more around him than Bobby. I had feel bad for Bobby because we had little different problems and stuff too, you know?
So the same guy you went shooting with, you guys had a disagreement, so you weren't friendly.
Yeah.
So the car where it's parked, even though Bobby lives just a couple of doors down, we're going to keep saying it's across from Govan's house. It was actually in front of an abandoned house, right? One or two down from Govan.
What?
The car, when you guys dropped off the Mercedes.
It was right across the street at the abandoned house from his house.
Okay, which is 2 doors down, but on the same street from Bobby Carter's house.
Yeah, it's on the same side as Bobby, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
On the same side as Bobby, but right across the street from his Govan house.
Did Bobby ever tell you, call you, and say, why is there a fancy Mercedes sitting in front of my house with a busted window?
I wasn't talking to Bobby at the time. Bobby texted me and said, you niggas ain't gonna fuck with me. It's actually in my phone, so
Okay.
Bobby the one, I don't know.
When you talked to the police regarding the meeting, you said the meeting took place around the time Braylon Murray was murdered. You remember that?
Who?
Braylon Murray.
Who are they?
Could I show him the exhibit, please? I want you to look at the highlighted portion of paragraph 9 of the debrief of the friend. You mentioned you've seen the discovery about you, so this is about you. You agree that the feds wrote up a long 6-page summary about your interview, right?
I ain't had that much in school.
Okay, so your lawyer, over the last 3 years, has never shown you your own statement to the police.
No, I ain't get all in school.
So you're basically telling me your lawyer is a complete buffoon that didn't share your own discovery
No, I
with you.
wouldn't say that about my lawyer. I'm not saying it, because I told him I didn't want the rest of the discovery. So I didn't say that. I just said I didn't get all my discovery.
So you know specifically the interviews that you did with the police, maybe the most important thing, he didn't give those to you.
I didn't care to get all that. After these pages came, I didn't care to get no more.
Can you hand that to him? Just read the highlighted portion to yourself, please.
I don't know who that is. What's the nickname?
I don't know. That's what the police said you wrote. You told them. CD, that was you at the time. That's the phrase, the initials they were using for you. Said the August 13, 2021. His meeting was around there, around the same time Braylon Murray was murdered. Right?
I don't know who that is.
Okay. Tell me, how many people have you shot over your life, your career?
My career is not a career, for one, but I went to jail in 2011 for aggravated assault charge, and that's it.
Okay, but I'm just asking you, how many people have you shot? We've got Wu down. Who else?
I haven't shot Wu. I shot at Wu. It's the difference.
All right. Tell these nice people in the jury box, how many people have you shot at?
One. How many people have I shot at?
Yeah.
Wu, and I shot a guy in 2011, and Dolph. That's it.
All right.
Now criminals just doing stuff like that.
Okay. Could I retrieve that deputy? You got arrested on December 9th in that intoxicated state we talked about, correct?
Mm-hmm.
You gotta say yes or no.
Yes, sir. I was under the influence.
Okay. The police still interviewed you on the 9th, is that correct?
Because I said I talked to him because I figured long incriminate myself, they'll let me go.
Okay. And then do you remember your girlfriend, Angela Arnold, talking to the police on December 14th?
I remember. I wasn't there. I was locked up, but I remember.
All right. Do you remember calling from the jail on December 12th before she gave her statement to talk to her?
Yeah.
All right. Do you remember asking for an alibi from Angela so you wouldn't be mixed up in this thing?
Alibi? What you mean?
That you didn't do it?
No, I probably did. 9 times out of 10 I did because, I'm trying to get out of it.
And then you also called Shay. Is that Letitia Jackson?
Yes, sir.
And you also talked to her on December 12th, talking about what exactly happened, that you were being charged with murder. Remember that?
No, I don't remember. That's my birthday, though, but I don't remember.
Okay. Do you remember being told that Angela went and talked to the police on the 14th of December?
Yeah, I remember.
All right. After that call, do you remember calling Uncle Ron and asking him to find out what Angela said to the police?
Yeah, I remember.
Okay. And aside from Uncle Ron, you also called your brother Quez to find out what Angela said to the police on the 14th, right?
Probably.
All right. And then aside from Uncle Ron and your brother Quez, you also called Shay about it, right, to contact Angela.
Probably.
And then you, aside from Uncle Ron, your brother Quez, Shay, your child's mother, you also asked Kiana, your sister, to find out what Angela told the police. You have to say yes or no.
Probably.
Okay. And do you remember your family telling Angela, do not go down to the police station to make a second statement?
What you mean, my family? Who is my family? Like,
Shay?
Nah, Shay my kid's mama. I don't know them, don't even get along. So I don't know.
Right.
I don't remember that.
Deputy, could you show him the jail recorded phone call from December 15th, 2021, right here, please? Please read it out to yourself. Just read it to yourself.
December what?
15th, 2021, I've highlighted it for you, where it says Smith said.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so if I could retrieve that back. You remember telling your family, tell Angela Arnold not to go down to the detective's office until you came home?
But,
That's a yes, right?
yeah, I read about that. I see it.
Okay. And then underneath it, you can look at it as well again. And you also tell Uncle Ron, go talk to Angela before she goes back to the police.
Yeah, I read about that.
Okay. And then did you yourself on the 15th talk to Angela Arnold at 8:27 p.m. to talk about her interview with the police?
If it's right there, I read.
I don't wanna-
I did.
Okay, well, I know your memory
If
is
it's a jailhouse phone call, yes, sir. It's right there, black and white.
just take a look at it, because I don't want you to misunderstand any dates, because I know it's a little iffy.
What date you said?
The top of the page, you'll read the 15th.
Mm-hmm.
Could I get that back, Deputy? So that day, you asked Angela, tell you what she's going to do, because you wanted to figure this shit out, and you don't want her going down to the police until you get out, so you guys can go with a lawyer, is that right?
Well, I don't know. That part ain't on there, but yeah, till I get out. No.
Yeah. Okay. And then you also told her to say she doesn't know anything about it. Keep up with the false statement that she's already made.
Nah, because she ain't make no false statement, so, she told them what she knew.
But on the 14th, she said she didn't know anything.
I don't know what she told them. I wasn't there, sir. You know what I'm saying? But she told them she what she knew, and,
So she had no idea that this was going to go down before it went down on November 17th, right?
Nah, she ain't know till November 17th.
Right.
She ain't know till the date. When she picked me up, I had to go and tell her and keep her aware of what was what. And quick, like, make sure her sister stay happy, man. Make sure she stay happy.
All right, but then you also used her to go buy the car cover at AutoZone.
Yeah,
2 days
that
after
was
the
fake.
shooting.
Yeah, that was fake.
Right, but at that point, she knows she's hiding evidence, right, by buying this car cover trying to hide the car.
Nah, she ain't know she had no evidence or nothing like that. Angela Green, man, she ain't know nothing about what she was doing or nothing like that. I just told her go buy a car cover. She ain't know what car it was for.
Okay. So even though you guys committed a shooting in a car, you didn't tell her anything about it, just said go buy a car cover, and she was like, okay, I'll do it.
Nah, I told her I got shot and stuff. I said, man, just go in there and get a universal car cover for me. You know what I'm saying? She ain't know what car that car cover finna go on. She ain't know that.
you've just been shot 2 days earlier. She picks you up at a strange apartment that she doesn't live at, where you've got bandages. You tell her to go buy a car cover, and she doesn't ask any questions.
No, I told her, man, I did tell her that, you know, we just got into a little shootout, and, you know, I told her it was a $1.5 million hit on Dolph. That's what I told her, you know what I'm saying?
Sure. So you told your girlfriend that you were going to get $1.5 million for killing Dolph shortly after that, right?
Yeah.
And then it became $1 million.
No. I told her 1.5.
Okay.
But it was really 100,000. I never said no million. I never said no 200,000. Whatever you trying to get it. I never said that.
I'm not getting anything. I just have paperwork in front of me. So when Angela testifies, I'm going to ask her. She'll say that I agree with you. The 1.5 million was the first thing you mentioned. So you didn't mention to her $1 million.
I ain't say no better.
You didn't mention $500,000 to her.
No.
Right. Did you mention to her that you talked to Shay, your child's mother, and said you're going to use that money to buy a house for them and live happily ever after?
I ain't, because I ain't never said no stuff like that to Shay, man. I ain't say we were living happy ever after, man. I just said, you know, I was going to, you know, make sure if God would have, well, I ain't going to say if God, because God don't bless evil, but if I would have got away with it, and I would have got to do 50,000, I would have blessed my children's mother with about 10 so they could get them a house or something, and I sent their text messages, and they want to know we going to be happy ever after and all that. Nah.
Right. Do you remember when another lawyer named Luke Evans, I think, was a lawyer, he asked you about that, and you said, I was just running game on her. Doesn't mean anything. You ran game on Angela, right?
No, I ain't run game on them.
Who did you run game on?
I ain't run game on nobody. Because my children's mother was going to, you know, get in. I was going to put them down in a house. You can't buy no house for no 40,000 or nothing like that, you know.
I guess you gotta find it for me.
It was just running, you know, running games is like just telling them, like, you know.
Lying to them.
No, I wouldn't say lying. It just, you know, man and women talking. She know me, I know her. She know I'm full of shit. I know she full of shit. Basically.
All right.
It just
So
put a smile on each other's face. Laugh. Something to laugh about.
Deputy, could I have you looking at page 153, please? Could you go ahead and read that page, please? Could I retrieve that, Deputy? All right. So the question was asked by Mr. Evans, but you're telling her you're going to buy her a house. Answer, I said that the day before. I said that the day before. Question, the day before. Answer, yeah. I tell a female a lie. You know what I'm saying? Like that, my baby mama. I was just trying to get back with her or whatever. I ain't just like, you know, it's just game. You know what I'm saying? It's just game. It ain't about all, it's just game. So when I asked you that you were trying to get back with your baby's mother, and you said that to this other lawyer, that's a lie.
Well, no, because if it's right there, you know what I'm saying? If I said it then, you know, how I feel now about her, and how I feel then, you know, different time.
All right.
Been 44 months, man, you know?
I understand. And you don't want to spend the rest of your life in prison, do you?
I don't know if I want to spend the rest of their life in prison, but, you know, I got to do whatever they give me to do. If they give me life, then it's just my life, you know what I'm saying? I did the crime.
Okay. So let me finish up this. So when he talked to you about the day before, yeah, I tell a female a lie, you know what I'm saying, like that my baby mama. I was just trying to get back with her or whatever. it ain't just like, it's just a game. You know what I'm saying? It's just game. It ain't all about all, it's just game. Question, so you're just lying to her too? Answer, I ain't saying lying. I ain't gonna say that. Game and lying is two different things because, tell a person what they want to hear. You know what I'm saying? You said that, right?
I just told you, yeah.
Right. And you're
Now,
running the
though,
game.
how I feel about her now, how I feel being different. You know what I'm saying? Once again, same response.
I agree, but it's a very
So you
eye-opening statement to me. Is tell people what they want to hear. It's just a game.
No. It's different from that. It's totally different, sir.
Okay. So when you said
This ain't game right here. This shit real, man.
Okay.
Somebody lost their life.
Right.
This ain't game right here.
And you want to make amends for that, right?
I pray every day. Ask God to forgive me, you know what I'm saying? Ask that family to forgive me and stuff like that.
Right. It's been 4 years. Why don't you just take a guilty plea so the family didn't have to worry about it? You still haven't pled guilty to this case.
Why did I just take a guilty plea?
Yeah, they're going to give you what they're going to give you.
Yeah, they are, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I'ma just keep it real, same person that hired me, same person that, you know what I'm saying, kept it real with them, so I'ma keep it real too, you know what I'm saying? Because I didn't know nothing about this. I ain't had no beef with paper route. I ain't into no paper route. I don't know none of them. Had I not met Mr. Hernandez Govan, and he told me about the hit on all their head and stuff, I wouldn't be sitting up here, sir. I'd still be up there popping my pills, minding my business.
All right. With regards to after the shooting, you said you went to the car and you cleaned it at night, correct?
Yes, sir.
The car in which you were bleeding from your shoulder wound and maybe or maybe not from your leg wound.
Yes, sir.
All right, and you mentioned that you took bleaching peroxide and you wiped it down.
I didn't say what it was. I said I don't know exactly what, I can't recall exactly what I sprayed on. Cleaning stuff.
Just give me a second, I'll show you the statement.
Okay. If it's there and I said it, I admit it is there, but I don't remember. I can't just tell you, this is what I use right off top right
I'm just asking, how many people have you shot that you can't remember going to clean a car
there.
with bleach and
I
peroxide?
just told you, sir, I ain't shooting nobody but a guy in 2011. I shot Ed Wu and Young Dolph. I don't shoot people like that. I'm not that kind of guy. How many people have you shot, guy?
All right. You remember pulling a gun on your child's mother where she had to get a restraining order against you?
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay, you didn't shoot at her, but you just pulled a gun on her, right?
Yeah, that was it.
Okay. With regards to that Angela, you had domestic violence calls as well. As just a few months before all this happened, she called the police on
Am I
you.
on trial, sir?
Well, you should be, but you're not right now. So I'm asking you.
Well, why you bring up my criminal history? Am I?
Mr. Smith, answer the question.
Yeah.
All right. And then did you also steal TVs and other things to
Yes,
go
sir,
buy
I did.
drugs
Yes,
after
sir.
you stole Angela's property?
Yes, sir, I did.
And you've had domestic violence with her as well?
Yes, sir, I did.
But she's still dating you as of today after 4 years of being in
Yes,
prison?
sir. People go through their ups and downs. Every relationship do.
Okay. I'm going to refer the state to page 158 and 159. Sorry, you're going to get your steps in, Deputy. Let's do this again.
No problem.
I want you to read the bottom of that page and the top of the next page, please. Could I have it back, Deputy? All right. So the question you asked, Luke Evans asked you the questions. It was actually twice. It was also asked on page 153. Question, all right. Now you said you wiped down this car. How did you wipe down this car? Like, what did you do? Answer, what you mean? Question, how did you wipe down the car? What did you do? You walked through the backyard, walked up to the car. What did you do next? Answer, I took a towel and, I had like peroxide and bleach and stuff, and I wiped the car down. Question, peroxide and bleach? Answer, yeah. Question, and so you walked back through this yard and you had big things of peroxide and bleach in your hands? Answer, yeah. You trying to say how I did it with a shot arm? And then you guys go on as to how you would wipe that thing down. Remember 3 different times you talked about bleach and peroxide?
Yeah.
And carrying big things of bleach and peroxide to the car?
I ain't say I carried.
Question, and so you walked back through this yard and you had big things of peroxide and bleach in your hands? Answer, yeah.
I had it on a towel. I ain't say I carried no beef, because I remember him asking me, now you shot and you holding all this. I ain't do all
Let's
this.
hear it again.
Again, I'm asked and answered several times.
It keeps changing.
We'll give him a chance to clear this up.
I'll just ask you again. Question, and so you walked back through this yard and you had big things of peroxide and bleach in your hands? Answer, yeah.
Yeah, it's on that paper, yeah.
Okay. At some point in one of your interviews, you mentioned that Justin Johnson gave $500 to the neighbor next to your father's house along with a letter. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That happened, right?
Yeah.
All right, and the lady that lives next to your dad's house, is that Vivian Ferguson?
Yeah.
All right. And so she was given $500 by whom?
I wasn't there at the time, but I believe it was Justin Johnson.
Okay, so Justin Johnson arguably would have gone to your dad's neighbor, lady that's like a grandmother, Vivian Ferguson, if I remember correctly, and gave her $500 cash, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
Okay. And then at some point after the shooting, you went to Atlanta, right?
I was coming back from Atlanta when he had took that 500 as well.
Okay. I'm not going to ask if you know when the 500 went there because I'm certain it's going to be blurry for you, but after the shooting, you went to Atlanta.
Yeah.
All right. And then, arguably, when things cooled down, you came back and there should have been $500 waiting for you with Mrs. Vivian Ferguson, right?
Nah, I was on my way back from Atlanta when he gave her that 500. I was already en route back to me.
All right. So she would hold the money for you
Yeah,
until you
I
got
was
back.
just a few hours away.
Okay. You have any idea when that was?
Nah, I can't tell you.
Okay. With regards to when you met Justin, you told us repeatedly to the government that you met him through Mr. Govan. Is that fair?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you remember making an intoxicated statement to the police on December 9th when you were arrested? That you met Mr. Johnson through another rapper that you knew as miscellaneous. It's like $MISC. You remember saying that?
Nah, I don't recall it.
Okay.
I was under the influence, sir, so I don't recall none of that interview at all. I'm just gonna be honest with you. On December the 9th, the day I got locked up, I was high. My mug shot stayed out. I don't remember nothing.
Okay, so let me back up that day that you got locked up. You were high, but you went to the grocery store, knowing enough it was your daughter's birthday to buy cake and balloons. You went to the school to drop it off. You then were alert enough to notice that...
Nah, I did say I went by family dollar got a $10 fee.
I'm getting there. You were alert enough to notice that you were being followed by law enforcement, but instead of whatever, you decided to go to the Family Dollar to get some headache pills. You then drive through Mississippi or to Mississippi, and then you're alert enough to know that suddenly not just the unmarked cars, the Jeeps, DeSoto County Police was also following you, right? And then they stopped
Nah,
you.
they pulled me over.
They pulled you over.
They follow me. They come behind me. That's what initially made the stop to pull me over for the U.S. Marshals.
All right. Was this on the side of the road?
Yeah, they pulled me over on the side of the road.
Okay. And so, was this near your child's mother's house?
Nah, it was in Mississippi on Irway.
All right. Because when we talked...
State line.
Okay. When you talked to the government, you said you were able to get your phone to your child's mother, so you gave her some evidence, and the police figured it out. Was that before or after the police were following you?
They were following me doing the whole time. I didn't know, but after I left my daughter's school, which was right around the corner from my mom's house, I dropped her off.
Okay, because you didn't tell when the government asked you what happened next. That now you're saying after the school, you remember in your intoxicated state that you drove to your child's mother's house and left the important cell phone with her.
Listen, after I left her house, that's when I went to Family Dollar and got the $10 fee because I knew they were following me now. When I was in her apartment, they pulled a 5-car deep. I was able to get on out of there. I went to Family Dollar, got the $10 PM, and then I just shot on out.
Okay, so let me get it straight now. So when you went to your child's mother's house, to still have it, it is now your testimony that they were there 5 deep.
They pulled up 5-car deep. As I was out there talking to her, they were pulling in the apartments, and I told her to move, and I pulled on up.
Okay. So as you're at the apartment, you see the cops, they somehow just let you get away? When
They was unmarked. They were U.S. Marshals. They was unmarked. I guess they were waiting on me to meet somebody, make a move. I don't know why they ain't give me right then.
Do you remember telling Uncle Ron, your brother Quez, and all that, prior to all this, that after it happened, that Govan is a federal snitch and he had put sort of a listening device in your jacket?
Oh, yeah, I remember saying.
Okay. You remember at one of your many interviews, they showed you photos of weapons that could have been used at the time of the shooting. You remember that? You had to identify photos that they were showing you of guns?
Probably, I can't get
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think this was one of the non-intoxicated interviews. I'm just going to ask you.
Okay. Well,
One of the guns that they showed you, you said was Justin's and it's old. You remember saying that?
he was on a picture with it.
No, it was just a gun.
Uh,
They sort of did a gun lineup, I guess, if you were. You remember that?
I don't remember.
All right. You remember being shown an AK and some other handguns, and you said those were Angela's guns. You remember that?
No, I don't remember that.
Okay.
I remember being shown guns, but I don't remember that.
All right. And it's your testimony under oath, even though you told the police that you met Justin sometime in the past through miscellaneous. You were too intoxicated, and you have no idea how that name came into your mind to say, I met Justin with miscellaneous, right? This is random thought
I was
here.
under the influence, then.
Right.
I was under the influence.
I get all that.
If you ask the police to interview me, they'll tell you that they had to hold me up to go to the restroom.
All right.
So if you ask them to interview me, I'll say to take it.
All right. And so the first interview where you said miscellaneous did this, and you had a long interview with the police. Not once did you mention the name Govan, right, in that first
I
interview?
never told them nobody did this. I never told them nobody did that. I never said like, and I never admitted to doing this or being a part of this or nothing. And then,
I'm just trying to figure out, of all the people in the world you get to pick, you said I met Justin through miscellaneous. Why miscellaneous? How did that come to your
I
mind?
don't even know no miscellaneous. I'm just being honest, sir.
Okay.
I was under the influence.
All right. Do you remember writing letters to your sisters,
Yes, sir.
Kiana Smith and Vanessa Holmes?
Yes, sir.
All right. With regards to your letter to Kiana Smith, I guess you didn't think it was going to get seized. That was dated 3/3/22. That would be March 3rd, 22. You remember that? Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You're basically saying that Angela's lying, LMAO. Angela said she was scared, blah, blah, blah. LMAO, she's fucking with my life with her lies. You remember all that?
If it's there, I wrote it.
All right. If you want to see it, I'll show it to you.
No, I know it's what y'all calling escape.
Right, and you go on and on about her lying ass and all that other stuff. So the interesting thing there is, you talked to your sister about a separate case here in Memphis, in the Holly Bobo case. You remember that?
Yeah, when I was explaining my lawyer history, who my lawyer was, that would represent me or whatever, I was just telling them like his history,
Sure.
who he all represented and stuff like that.
Okay. And it says, he being your lawyer, he said that's the only way I will not do life in jail, and ECT Maine. What is ECT? Is that et cetera?
Yeah.
Okay. Maine just got $50K for this. He talking about one of the men in Holly Bobo case where they raped and killed her, period. He worked with them and they let him walk free. You remember saying that to your sister?
Yeah,
That if he...
I wrote it. Yeah, I wrote it.
So the idea was, this is in March. You're not intoxicated anymore.
No, I ain't intoxicated.
You're writing to her that if I work with the police, just like this guy that raped and killed a woman and walked free because he cooperated, that was...
I actually don't know exactly what the guy did, what role the guy played that he represented. So I really didn't, and I didn't know the case very well as well. So I didn't know what was the outcome. I don't know what to expect because I didn't know the role that. I just know he represented somebody on the case.
So when your family was reaching out to Juke's lawyer, Arthur Horn, and getting other lawyers...
My family didn't reach out to Arthur.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Let him finish his question.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to be accurate. Yes, your family reached out to Attorney Bailey, who then reached out to Arthur Horn on your behalf to get the money and all that. Got it. But then when Bailey pulled out of the case, you got the same lawyer that got the man in the Holly Bobo case off by cooperating, right?
Right. Yeah.
Deputy, could you show him this?
Yeah, I see.
Okay, if I could have it back, Deputy. And this is your handwriting, right?
Yeah, that's mine.
Okay. So again, I'll read it. He said that's the only way I will not do life in jail. And then you said he talking about one of the men in Holly Bobo case where they raped and killed her, worked with them, and they let him walk free. That's what you were said to your sister about what you were going to do and what you expected to have happen, right? That was your expectation.
Yeah, I was saying what my lawyer had, what my lawyer had did for their client, which I don't know that man role in the Holly Bobo case. I don't know what role he played in that case.
Okay.
So I don't know how he got to walk free. I don't know what he did. You know what I'm saying? Like what role he played in that woman careful with her. So I was just telling them what his history was.
Right, but you chose the one lawyer that you're talking about that said his guy to cooperate and he walked free on murder, and we're here on a murder, right?
Well, you got somebody to walk free before, so I didn't know exactly what my lawyer did. Like, I was just telling them his history, you know?
Okay, well, how do you know that I've gotten somebody to walk free before?
I heard about you. You're a good lawyer.
Okay. I'm not sure how. We've never met, right?
No, we We never met, but
I did ask to
you know,
talk to you.
TV.
Okay, and I have talked to you. I did ask to talk to you through the jail and stuff several times, right?
Did you ask to talk to me?
Yeah. Did your lawyer tell you that I called multiple times to try to talk to you before trial? They said no, I couldn't talk to you. Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
Your lawyer didn't tell you that.
Objection, Your Honor, relevance.
It's okay. I'll withdraw the question. Can I just have a moment, Your Honor? You remember when I talked to you, it seems like a lifetime ago, where we talked about Gotti's Arthur Horn giving some money for your lawyer, and I asked you, are you on the team and all that, and you said you don't know what I'm talking about. You remember that? Okay, so I'm just going to play some audio for you. Sorry about this internet thing. I just want you to listen to it carefully and tell me if that's your voice.
That this was like, was the message given to you that like this is for you to be on their team and not talk?
Pretty much, but not really, but I guess by them making the payment, like this will be like just be cool, but since I think.
And as far as you know, since you obviously have enough TV knowledge or whatever, since you know who I am, you know for a fact that neither Gotti nor Mr. Jook have ever been questioned by the police, right?
Yeah, I did.
All right. And I know Mr. Jook died in 2024, about 2.5 years after the shooting. But you're not aware of him ever being questioned, even listening to what I just played for you, right?
No, I haven't talked to. I can't contact Duke or Buddy. I don't know them personally. None of it.
Okay.
So,
And so just before I sit down, we're not sure about the dates. We're not sure about the times. Basically, from this meeting until the murder, it's about 3 months is our best guess before you and Justin did it. The morning of the murder, you didn't call Mr. Govan, did you?
now we talked to Govan the day before, like when we was already out. Okay.
Well, the reason I ask is you didn't know what you were going to do that morning. Justin just showed up with a stolen white Mercedes, right?
Now we did. We knew they had turkey drive, like I said.
Not talking about turkey guys. When Mr. Johnson picked you up, he showed up with a white Mercedes. You didn't know he was coming with a white Mercedes, right?
No, I ain't know he was pulling up in that car.
Right. And you didn't know what guns he was going to bring.
No, I did not.
And you didn't know if you were going to see anybody that day because the turkey drive been going on all week, right? It's
No, like I said before, prior to this, it was the day before we was already out. So we knew that we was, you know what I'm saying, he already let us know. Mr. Govan already let us know, like, y'all gonna get some, and we gonna get some. We ain't just settling for nothing. We gonna get something. We got one. We on the move.
And when you happened to see Mr. Dolph, since you said you're not familiar with PRE and all that, even though you shot at Mr. Wu some months earlier, how did you know that was him? If you don't know much about PRE, how did you know that was Dolph?
Told you I listened to Dolph. I knew Dolph. That's the only one I knew of. I used to listen to him.
Well, the car that we saw has very dark tinted windows.
Everybody know Dolph cars. All on the sign.
Okay, so he's got a G-Wagon? Yes? If you know everything, then all his cars are the same.
Nah, like, all of them got the, like, little military stuff on. But he was in there the day before at the gas station.
But you said when you got there, you didn't see him. He was
Nah,
already
but it
gone.
was on the internet. It was on the internet.
Okay, so when you now say that Govan told you about these turkey drives, you have access to the internet where you live, right? And you can see all the Instagram blowing up that he's doing all these turkey drives on your own. You knew that, right? You didn't.
Yeah, we all knew that they were doing turkey drive.
Right, because it almost sounds like we're being a child, right? You commit a murder and you're like, Govan told me to get rid of the gun, or Govan told me to get rid of the phone, or Govan said hide your car. you've been a pretty good criminal until then. You know you're supposed to do these things, right? You don't need it spoon-fed from that guy to say, hey, maybe hide the evidence from the murder, right?
Actually, I didn't know anything about the hit until Mr. Goldman brought me in. He the one hired me to do the hits or whatever. I didn't know anything about paper route having no hit. I didn't know anything about Justin Johnson. I met all that to Mr. Hernandez Goldman. You see him right there.
Right. And Juke was supposed to give you the money. And you met him, and he told you if you would.
No, Juke wasn't doing all the talking. Mr. Hernandez Goldman was doing all the talking, like I said. Juke was like, put them phones outside, and he was just like shaking his head, like whatever he was saying, like the money gonna be good. That was Mr. Hernandez was talking. He was like, you know what I'm saying? This little C right here. This
Right.
what he.
So the guy that you just met, that Bobby Carter, your associate, said might be a snitch, that's your listening to. Can we play this clip that you told the police? Okay, sorry, we have to switch computers, everybody.
It was one day when Elsa was out right, and I wanted some X pills, so I went to courthouse to get the X pills from him, and Juke was over there. And when I walked in, there was one quick told Juke, this little C right here, and mine, Juke was like, is a hit on my phone. First, he said, take all the phones outside, you know. He ain't say my phone, he said quit phone, but I passed my phone to make it feel comfortable. So, took the phone outside, and Juke was like, is a hit on my head, he get him, and he got us. And okay, I was like, exactly when it was, but that's what he said.
Thank you. You remember saying that when you had this run-in with Juke just by chance, that he was doing all the talking about the hits. Assuming this is true.
Yeah,
that
Goldman was too. Mr. Hernandez Goldman was.
So what I'm hearing when you say it was
That's
just
me.
right, and Juke also knew that Goldman could have been a federal snitch. That's why he made you move the
I
phones out.
don't know nothing about that because I don't know Juke like that. I don't know what Juke knew about Mr. Hernandez Goldman, but that was what I had heard, that he was a federal snitch, and every time somebody said that he'd shoot at him, so that's why I ain't believe. So.
But you said earlier, about an hour or so ago, that even Juke knew about him being law enforcement, and that's why he made you take the phones outside.
That's what they said, but I don't know what Juke knew about him, because I don't know Juke like that, you know what I'm saying? But that's what I was assuming, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's why he tell us to take the phone out. That's what I was
And
assuming.
you're familiar with CMG, right?
I know the artists, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know them personally.
With regards to knowing Dolph and his music, you've heard of the song 100 Shots, right?
Yeah.
All right, so you know people have been trying to kill Dolph for 3 to 4 years prior to you doing it.
Yeah.
All right, and you know that CMG had people all over the country trying to kill him. Los Angeles, Charlotte, etc. You know that, right? You read about it because you're a fan.
Yeah, I don't know exactly who it was or nothing like that. I don't know, but I know they've been having beef. I know they won.
All right, and Yo Gotti's very successful, wealthy, all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So of all the people that they could have hired to kill the biggest name in Memphis, they pick some no-name guy that sells a couple of pills on Bradley Street in Orange Mound, to set you up to go kill somebody instead of paying some real professionals what they're doing, even though he's been shot at repeatedly in other places, right?
Yeah. Come from Mr. Hernandez Govan, he was saying I ain't want nobody on their camp doing it, so that's why he had us
Okay.
on the team.
Yeah, go in and set it all up, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's how I met. That's how I knew about it. I ain't know nothing about it.
You didn't know nothing living in the streets that there was a price on Dolph's head, that he'd been shot at, even though you know
I know
he's-
he been shot at him, been shot, but I didn't know like to connect with you to talk about I do it. No. I do it, pick me. No. Mr. Hernandez Govan, how we do the job.
I appreciate your time.
No problem. Appreciate you.
Darn, do you have any, I got to check on something, I may have a couple more questions for, we need a break. We need to take a break. Let's stand in a brief recess.
Court stands in a brief recess. Jury's following.
Randy Allen,
Yeah.
you're down into the courtroom.
Let me say how would you follow the story based upon some of the things that Mr. Aurora actually, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Alright, so the date she got arrested, that was December the 9th, 2021,
Correct.
and you spoke with police that day.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Aurora asked you, about you stating that you met Justin Johnson through a person named Miscellaneous.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know a person named Miscellaneous?
No, ma'am.
Do you know a person named Justin Taylor?
After being locked up, I realized who he was.
Okay, who was Justin Taylor?
He used to be around, and then they go in and Justin Johnson.
And that's a different person than Justin Johnson, right? Justin
Right.
Taylor, Justin Johnson.
Yes, ma'am.
And you mentioned this in your interview, you met Justin Taylor through Miscellaneous, you remember that, saying that?
No, I don't recall saying it.
Or if that was what you said in your interview, that you about right?
Yes, I was under the influence.
Alright. recognize the person in this video?
Yeah, it look like me.
Okay. Play this clip.
Did you speak with a Justin Taylor?
Well, I had to. I don't remember what I did.
Okay, you may know him as Drop or Ted.
I know.
Okay, did you talk to him that day?
I probably did. Yeah, I think I did.
What did
I
y'all?
just can't remember the whole conversation. I can't remember who I was talking to.
Okay.
But I know well because, you know, you little brother, I'm 30, I am 32. So,
Okay.
he young.
How do you know Justin?
I don't know, because I met him with one of my partners.
Which part did it?
Would be, a rapper named, Mr. Lane.
Miss who?
Mr. Lane.
Miss.
They were asking you about Justin Taylor. You called it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's who
Yes
you,
or no?
Yes, ma'am.
and that's who you were answering about.
Yes, ma'am.
Also, during the cross-examination, you were asked about some payments between cash and cash out. Do you recall that?
Yes, ma'am. That's when I cut my interview off.
Okay. Who was paid via cash out, or what was the conversation involving cash out? Because you mentioned that was two different instances you talked about.
Justin was saying that he was gonna cash out Mr. Hernandez and go pay him some money to get the car cover or whatever,
Okay.
and he got me cash.
Okay. All right. And like I said, the incident happened November 17th, 2021.
Yes, ma'am.
And you didn't initially speak with police the December the 9th, 2021.
Correct.
And it was even later than that when you mentioned about AutoZone, right?
Correct.
So it could have been,
Objection, leading, and speculative, Your Honor, could have been.
well, possibly 5 or 6 months later when you spoke with them about
Yeah,
AutoZone.
when I first spoke to detectives, I wasn't, putting myself in it, saying that I did it, saying that I know, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was under the influence December the 9th, and the conversation we was having really was like, alright, if I don't incriminate myself in this, they gonna let me go, you know what I'm saying? But it ain't working.
And last, you were asked about a message that was sent to Juke in December, I believe, 2021. You recall that?
Yes, ma'am, I had looked, I forgot what website, but I sent them a message like, when he go in homeboy, let's see, man, I'm trying to get with you so I can get my money.
At times, would you sometimes use Angela's phone?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you have possibly used Angela's phone to send that message?
Yes, ma'am.
I have no further questions.
Should ask the government to play the same audio clip instead of. Was that tape ready to pull back up? Okay, please. While she's doing that, a couple times while we were talking over the last hour or two, I called your girlfriend Angela Adams. You remember that? Okay, people sometimes say the name's wrong, right? You gotta say yes or no.
Yes.
All right. They're asking you about Justin Taylor. Do you know Justin Taylor?
I met him through Mr. Hernandez and Justin.
Okay, but the reason I ask is you said you talked to Justin that day of the shooting.
Justin Johnson?
Yeah.
Yeah, they straight drop Justin Johnson.
Right, and the cop cop says Justin Taylor, you may know him as Brock. Do you remember hearing that? She's going to play the game for you, so I don't want to pull the wool over the jury's eyes. You knew exactly who he was talking about. He just switched out the names, just like I've done, and the jury's heard me do, because there's so many people involved. When he said, did you talk to Justin Taylor, Brock, or wherever, on the day of the homicide, you meant Justin Johnson, because you said yes, right?
I didn't incriminate myself.
I'm not asking you.
None of them that day. So when they were talking to me, I was under the influence, but I wasn't incriminating myself at the same time.
Okay. I understand that. They simply said, did you talk to Justin Taylor, Rob, or some other nickname? And you said yes, right? We'll just play it. We'll get to the bottom of it. I mean, you and I both know who they were talking about, right? That
Nah, at the time I did. They asked names that I don't know. I didn't know Mr. Hernandez Govan first name. I didn't know Mr. Justin Johnson first name. I didn't know nothing about nobody first name. When I first got locked up, I didn't know none of their first name.
Whoa. So now you're telling this jury you didn't know Justin Johnson's first name until you got locked up?
They asked Justin Johnson, you might know him as Straight Drop. They were telling me their names before I got locked up. Like before I got locked up, I ain't know none of their first names.
Okay.
Like his name was Quick, you know, Justin John's name was Straight Drop.
Well, when the government asked you about Justin Johnson, you described exactly how it happened, how he
I had
introduced you, and I
I
called
had
it.
paperwork with everybody's name in it.
Right, but I thought you didn't have a lot of the discovery, but now you have the names in
I
it.
don't have all my discovery, that's what I said, but the stuff that, you know what I'm saying, with everybody's name in it, I got it.
All right, so the man you went to go kill Dolph with in cold blood in broad daylight that you'd known for about 4 months at that point, you didn't know his name was Justin. Never called him that.
No.
And you had his phone number. You called him Bruh, so how did you know his name was Drop? Did you just call him Brother? If that's how you had
Straight
him?
Drop. That was his rap name, so I just called him Drop. I ain't know nobody legal name. They ain't know my legal name. They called me Lil C. They ain't know my legal name. They just went off what everybody called me, Lil C.
Okay. Can we play the audio, please?
He shot at me about 70. Did you speak with a Justin Taylor for that day? Justin Taylor. I'm trying to say that. Well, I had to. You looked at my phone. I had to. But I don't remember what I did. Okay, you may know him as Drop or Tez. I know him. Okay. Did you talk to him that day? I probably did. Yeah, I did. What did y'all say?
Keep going until he says miscellaneous, please.
I can't remember who I called that. Okay. But I know him because, you know, he's a good little brother. I'm 30, I'm 32. Okay. And he young. How do you know Justin? You know him good. I met him through one of my parties. Which party is it? Would be, a rapper named, Miscellaneous. Miss who? Miscellaneous. Miscellaneous? Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. I'm pretty sure the jurors are taking notes. So a second ago, I told you, how did you know Justin Taylor? And you said you met him through Govan. Is that right?
Yeah.
All right. So when the police officer asks you, how do you know Justin? If you were really talking about Justin Taylor, wouldn't you have said, I met him through Govan? Remember, you just said it. Those are your words. I'm not trying to play games with you.
Right, I understand what you're saying.
All right. So you told us that you met Justin Taylor, whoever Justin Taylor is, through Govan, right?
Yeah.
And so when the police asked you, when did you meet Justin or Drop, you said, I met him through a rapper named Miscellaneous. You remember?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I just said on that.
So if the prosecutor tries to make it seem like you met Justin Taylor through Miscellaneous, that would be false because you just testified under oath that Govan's the one that introduced you to Justin Taylor, right?
Yeah, but I was also under the influence of the innocence.
I get all that, but you're not
And
under
I
the
wasn't
influence.
trying to incriminate myself.
The prosecutor's not under the influence, and neither are you. She asked you a straight-up question and said, is it possible you met him this way? And you guys chuckled about it a little bit. What I'm telling you is, the truth is, if you ever knew Justin Taylor, it was through Mr. Govan. And when they asked you about Justin Drop, you said, I met him through miscellaneous. Is that what we heard? The only answer is yes.
That's what the video just said.
That's all I have.
The video just said.
No.
We do have one witness, Angela Short. Or she short?
No.
No, I don't believe she is.
No, can you start that first thing in the morning? 'Cause I don't wanna work late today, there's no, this is first day, Julie's been here all day. I don't wanna wear them down and out, it's too early to do that. So we will get started first thing in the morning at 9:30. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to admonish you again not to talk about it. So, when you start to talk about things, let's say you start talking about this trial, with, amongst yourselves. Once you start talking about things, you begin to, come to conclusions about landlords. And it's way too soon to do that, okay? I've admonished you early on, and I'm gonna continue to admonish you to wait till you hear all of the proof, and wait till you get the law that I'm going to give you to add to the proof before you start having conversations about it, okay? Because once you start to talk about it, you will start coming to your own conclusions, and I don't want you to do that. Understand? So you guys go have a good evening, enjoy your evening, and we'll see you back here bright and early at 9:30 in the morning. Go ahead, Jennifer.
All right. So what's that, to 9:30 tomorrow morning?